Greetings and salutations. It is I, Professor Macabro, here with the last day of Martial Arts March, the theme month where we took a look at martial arts movies. Cha-cha! Some with horror elements, some just amazing action movies. But I'm glad that you joined us in this adventure through this themed month. I hope you enjoyed it. And for the last day of Martial Arts March, I wanted to give you something weird and memorable to talk about. Now, I did think of doing Kung Fu Hustle. That's a pretty cool and out there movie. But I feel that has been talked about a lot in the YouTubes. Then I thought, well, how about Kung Pao? Enter the Fist. But again, that one has already been talked about. I feel both amazing movies. Then I thought, well, what about Surf Ninjas? That was a thing. But again, I feel that's not obscure enough. So I went through the collection of martial arts DVDs, and I came across a winner. A movie that I feel that not a lot of people will know about. And that movie is Kindergarten Ninja. Dun, 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 cha-cha! What is this bizarre thing that you see before you? Well, I blind bought this, if I am honest. In one of my many hunts, I came across this, and I'm like, what in hell's name is this thing? And it reads like it's a Kindergarten Cop knockoff. And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. Let's give it a buy. And I popped it in, and let me tell you, I was not prepared for the madness that this thing has inside. The story focuses about a real-life football player playing a fictional football player called Blade Steel. And I'm like, wow, that's an awesome name. Too bad it's in this thing, but this would have been amazing in a different movie, the name itself. And Blade Steel is this hotshot football player that is into the women, the booze, and the hard life. One day, he is riding it up with his lady friend, and he gets pulled over by a cop. And the cop sees that he's drinking, and his lady friend is underage, so to jail he goes. He is then taken to court, and he tries to use his fame and fortune to get himself out of this by bribing the judge with Super Bowl tickets. And the judge is like, you, sir, are the most despicable person I have ever seen in this court. I guess he doesn't get that much action in this court if that's the most despicable he's ever heard of. So he sentenced Blade Steel to community service. So you're like, okay, it's a guy that has to deal with something to redeem himself. Gotcha movie. And then, out of nowhere, we go to heaven. Yes, this movie goes to heaven. And God is like, hold that Blade Steel, you naughty son of a bitch. I'm going to redeem you. And we see Charles Chaplin in heaven, Elvis in heaven, Washington in heaven, and who else do we see? A guy pretending to be Bruce Lee. They don't say Bruce Lee, but it's pretty clear it's Bruce Lee. Which I would think is very peculiar that he would be in heaven. I guess this shows that all religions are the same and you're eventually going to end up in the same place. I would have thought that he would be more into Buddhism and reincarnation, but what do I know about the afterlife? Well, I know necromancy, yes, she can attest to, but not so much about heaven. Hell's a delightful place to visit. Yes, all the more fun people are there, and you get your pick of booze and other recreational things. But I have an infinity gauntlet so I can get out whenever I want. I do see a lot of people suffering, but I'm diverging from the point. So God says Bruce, because can't call him Bruce Lee, he's just Bruce, to try to save Blade Steel. So a couple of thugs up to no good are trying to steal Blade Steel's car, and Bruce enters his body, and he shows them how to karate everyone away. And then Blade Steel through Bruce, is taken to one of Bruce's apprentice, the Chosen Wong. Chosen Wong. Not Chosen One. Chosen Wong. I guess he wanted to do a blind martial artist that will supposedly train Blade Steel into the martial arts and calm him. As part of his community service, he is also forced to take care of kids, and that's when the Kindergarten Cop knockoff happens. Because Blade Steel is dealing with the little kiddies, and there are a bunch of rambunctious little assholes. And, well, it's again your typical Kindergarten Cop kind of story, where Blade Steel has to deal with these little creatures and find a way to help them and help himself. Also, because we have the Blade Steel Kindergarten Cop thing going, we have the Heaven Redemption thing going, and we also have some drug distribution here with a bad guy called Machete. I think he's related to the Danny Trejo Machete, who is selling a new drug through kids. Kids are his dealers, and he gets them pumped, and if they do wrong, well, he kills them, and what a jerk killing kids, but whatever. And that's when he comes in conflict with Blade Steel, because Blade Steel will have none of that under his watch. Unless he's with a girl, then he doesn't really care, which happens a lot! Blade Steel is still a womanizing dude throughout the movie, and it's only when it kind of intersects with him that he actually does something against the drug distribution. So our glorious hero, he is not. And then he is still trying to train, and we have these very long, very, not boring, but very like, okay, get to the point, training montages, with Blade Steel training with Chosen Wong. Chosen Wong. Very original, I guess. But then after he's training with Chosen Wong, Bruce kind of disappears from the movie. He only pops up once when Blade Steel is sleeping and next to a lady, and then the lady disappears and it turns to Bruce, and Blade Steel's like, ah! Which I would probably have the same reaction if I was banging a hot chick and then all of a sudden Bruce Lee popped out in her place. I'd be like, I didn't know I was that drunk. So, the story goes, there's also this cop that's kind of inconsequential to the thing, because he's trying to bring down Machete, and, but basically the mayor of the city says, hey, Machete is a standout guy, you leave him alone, and then his hands are tied. Eventually, kind of a situation, especially given the state of current events, Blade Steel's like, well, my community service is done, peace out, and he bolts out of there. He says that he won't go back to his ways, and we see him in a bar drinking tea, and a couple of women try to, have a good time with him, and he's like, no, I'm cool. So I guess some changes do happen. But then he sees, and this is where it gets kind of cringy in today's world, there is a school shooting in this rec center, and a couple of kids were shot, and a teacher was shot. And, back then that would have been shocking. Nowadays, unfortunately, it's more often than we would like. So Blade Steel jumps into action, and he's like, what happened? Well, there was a shooting. What do you think happened? And he's like, damn that Machete guy, I'm gonna get him. So, him and Chosen Wong are on the case, and they're going to try to take down Machete. And, that's what this story's about. And, it's hilariously bad, but I love it so. I popped this in, and I was like, okay, Kindergarten Cop ripoff. Heaven, okay, that came out of nowhere, but I'm still interested. And then, drug situations. And I'm like, movie, you ripped off a whole bunch of stuff, didn't you? But it's not shitty-o. It's not shot in shitty-o. It is, like, shot in low-quality video, but it doesn't look like shit. It's just poorly acted, all over the place written, and the story takes elements from so many places. And it drops story elements, like the Bruce situation. At the end of the movie, however, they do give you a couple of conclusions to the characters, like what happened to Blade Steel, what happened to Bruce, what happened to Cho Sen Wang, what happened to the teacher that Blade Steel was trying to get on with. Even randomly, there's this hot bimbo chick that also gets closure to her story arc, even though she was only in one scene. The bad guy. It's very, very tongue-in-cheek, and I was all for this movie after buying it. I am super happy I gave this one a shot. I will say it's not for everyone. If you're too nitpicky or you expect high-quality stuff, this thing is not that. This is low-budget, independent, people just getting together to make an entertaining movie, and I'm all for it. So, Kindergarten Ninja gets a recommendation from me if you enjoy the type of movies that I showcase in my channel. Where can you find Kindergarten Ninja? Well, the only place I've seen it is on DVD, but I did do a search online and I did find a copy on YouTube. If you put Kindergarten Ninja, you'll see one review, and I think a trailer I saw, and the full movie is on YouTube. So, there you go. If you want to spin the wheel and make a deal, and you want to see something bizarre, this is the movie for you. Yes, indeed. So, with the end of March comes the last day to vote for Horror YouTuber of the Month. Your pal, Professor Macabro, is still in the running, and we shall see if he wins or if it'll be probably, hopefully, nominated for the following month. But if you still have a chance to vote, and I'll leave it in the description, the link, so you can vote for me if you haven't already. What do we have for next month? Action April is the next month where we will showcase action movies that have horror elements and a couple of action movies that are just too good not to talk about. So I hope to see you then. But until then, we wish you all, like always, a good evening. Well, I think that was a very successful month, and another theme accomplished. We should get work on Action April.
Macabro, you dumb bastard. March has 31 days. There is still one more day to go.
What? What do you mean? March has 31 days. It has 30.
You are made of stupid. It 100% has 31 days. Tomorrow is the last day of the month, you moron.
What? Oh, son of a bitch!